Video. Get rid of that. Okay. Recording on. Okay, we're recording. And those of you that know me, it's all this Toastmaster stuff. I like to start on time and I like to finish when I say I'm going to finish. So that those of you that attend live know your timings and I'm not wasting time, and equally it then makes it easier for recording and all the rest of the stuff. So good morning, it's Bev, Discover Your Voice, talking today about the magic of words. I have done this one before, but to be fair, you cannot do it enough. And excuse me while I just get that in the right position. So to start, let's get my screen up. We're going to share my screen and here we go. So we're talking about the magic of words. So let me just talk to you a bit about who I am. I'm Bev. I own, founded, manage, run Discover Your Voice. It came about because I couldn't go back to work through an illness, employed work, didn't really want to anyway. I prefer to be my own boss. And my history is I trained in acting, speech, theatre, all that sort of thing many moons ago in, medieval times. And I am an NLP master practitioner, so I understand mindset. And I decided to put the two together in order that I could help women in business change the way they think about public speaking and speak more confidently, speak with more clarity, and really speak from their heart because they are the brand of their business. I'm also a mum and a nan. I'm a speaker, a coach, a dog owner, a wife. But more than anything, in all of that, I am me. And what you get when you work with me is you get me, okay? And no, I don't have the big purple hair. I've got a sort of grey silver colour at the moment, which I'm rocking beautifully. Now, this bit is really the coaching bit. The rest of it is for you to think about. But the coaching bit of this is, what do people really want? What do they really, 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 really want? If you don't understand what it is people want from what you do, you can't talk to them in the right language. You can't talk to them in a way that they will resonate with you and want to work with you. And it is so, so important that you get that bit right. Because we talk about trust, we talk about people buy into relationships. We live in a world now where people don't blindly buy because there's a great big poster and advert that looks good. We can talk to and speak to the people that we are going to invest with, we are going to give our hard-earned money to. So they need to know that they get you, that you get them, that you can solve their problem, that they're not throwing away their money. So it is vital. And what I would love you all to do is to go away and really think about what you do, your whole experience, knowledge, everything, your business, and what is it that people want from that, really want, right down to a base emotional level. Imagine that you were looking at a 4-year-old. What would they want? Not the fancy words and the fancy language, all right? So that's what you are going to be thinking about. I say this all the time, the magic of words. Never, ever underestimate. And those of you that coach, those of you that do therapies and things will understand this. Words are really powerful. They can hurt, they can lift you up, they can give you confidence, they can push you down. That old thing, sticks and stones may break my bones. Forget it. That's absolute bloody rubbish, to be fair, because you can heal a broken bone. But the words we use, they are there. They're stuck in somebody's brain. And depending on what the thing people bring with them, their baggage, their history, their experiences, their knowledge, their interpretations, what a word that I might laugh at when somebody uses it, for me, may actually put somebody else in a gutter, that may really push them down. So You have to use words with care. And that is exactly the same in business. Use words carefully. Don't hurl words at people that they don't get. Don't hurl acronyms and the sort of language within your culture and assume people know what you're talking about, because they don't, and they get turned off. Or something you say hits a nerve and they don't want to work. So you have to understand how powerful words are, not only in your personal life, but in your business life. Because in business, it's almost more important. You can't go to a client after you've upset them and apologize and take them out for a drink. Well, you can if you've got that sort of relationship, but generally, once they're gone, they're gone. You know, family members, we can make it up to them, we can grovel, we can do, you don't do that with business people. Once you've upset them, they've gone. And it's the words that make up our emotional response. If somebody says something to us, the words enter our ears and then they're managed in our head in an emotional way. And then depending on all our past baggage and our history and everything else, those words will have different meanings, but they will have an emotional response from people. I spent a lot of time being told I was stupid as a kid. You know, those days, you know, I'm 58, so we're going back a while, but I was told a lot. And I grew up with this sense of that I wasn't stupid, I was going to prove everybody wrong. And for a long time in my life, if somebody turned around and said something like, oh, that's just being stupid, or that's a stupid thing to say, the emotional button that would push is unbelievable. And in those days, if somebody had said to me, oh, that's stupid thinking, I can make you feel better, I wouldn't have gone near them, because they used that word. And for me, that word was so be careful with the words you use. Now, I am going to apologise immediately for the way this has, I don't know what happened here when I translated this from one thing to another. So I'm going to say it and hopefully you'll be able to read it. But what I will do is send out the slides in a better format. So why do you need to understand what words to use? Well, let's think about this. If you're talking to an audience, you need to understand what words would possibly turn off that audience. I go back to my butchers and vegetarian analysis, but if you're a vegetarian talking to a group of butchers, depending on why you were there, I would question that. But if it's to change minds and change hearts, you wouldn't start with everybody should stop eating meat, or meat eaters are disgusting, or, you know, killing lovely fluffy bunnies that's not going to have any emotional response to a butcher. In the same way, if you're working with a group of people that are you know, are depressed, they're broken in some way, they need nurturing, you're not going to use phrases or words like get over it, or it'll get better soon, or, you know, it's all your fault, because we understand those words. So part of understanding what words to use is understanding the audience you're talking to. And for me, I say to everybody all the time, find out about the audience you are talking to so that you know the right words to use. And I'm not talking about changing the theme or what you want to say, the message. Is about using the right language for your audience to understand. You see, the words you use tell people something about you. And in exactly the same way that we make assumptions about the way people dress and what they do, that we expect solicitors to have suits on and judges to have wigs on and butchers to have aprons on, the way we speak, unfortunately, also gives people an idea, a theory of who you are. And if you're someone who talks very polite and there's nothing wrong with this, please don't get me wrong, but has a very cultured way of speaking, who has a vast vocabulary to use. And I'm not talking about education or anything like that. There are some people who, I must admit, I adore the way they use the English language. are going to be perceived in a certain way. And if they go to a local community centre in a rundown estate in the middle of a city, if they don't understand how to use the right words for that audience, they're going to get nowhere. And this I know because I've worked with those sorts of communities. Equally, if you're one of those people, and there's a lot of them now, especially online, who swear a lot and like to use shock phrases and things, again, nothing wrong with that, as long as the people that are hearing that are happy with that. I wouldn't be. If I sat in an audience with that, I'd turn off. It doesn't do anything for me in terms of emotion. I find that approach just not right for me. So words do tell people something about you. I use a lot of words like awesome, awesomer. I'm a great one for making up words. Magic, amazing, all of those. I use magical words because I believe in magic, and people hear me and my language and the way I talk, and the perception they have is of someone who is a little bit flighty sometimes, a little bit, I don't really know how to explain it, but, you know, off the planet, maybe some people have said, but maybe a little crazy, a little less formal, more approachable. And then I've worked with other people whose language is so airy-fairy, so up there, that people that they talk to get that impression of, I'm safe with them. Or you'll get people who just go, that just leaves me cold. It's too airy-fairy. I haven't got a clue what's going on. So the words you use will tell people something about you, and they will also become part of your brand, the words you use. I mean, my words like zebracorns and awesomer has become part of my brand, and it's very nice. Thank you very much. So what are we going on to now? I just want to make sure I am recording. I hope so. Why we use emotional words? Remember what I said earlier? Words create an emotional response when we hear them. It's not the same when we read them, because we read differently. We read intellectually. So you have to remember that everyone's emotional response is triggered by the words other people use, and it's based on things that have happened to us in the past, good and bad. So we use emotional words to talk to people, to connect with people, to connect on that level where people are going to trust you. You know that phrase when people go, oh, trust me. Do you know the last people I trust are the people who just go, trust me? It's more than that. So this use of emotional words, and those words will be different depending, you know, on the audience you're talking to. And by now you have figured out who you're talking to. For example, if you're talking to women with low self-esteem, you are going to use a safe language. You are going to use motivational, inspirational language. You're going to use the language to help them gain confidence. If you're talking to men who are comfortable in their skin, you know, maybe you're talking about dating, and you're working with men actually who are very comfortable, and the language you would use with them then is far more around, you know, you look great, you look good, you know, all that sort of thing. So think about your audience. Career-minded people will have a completely different language to those who have no idea what they want to do. In fact, most of them don't want to do anything. Creative people have a different language to very formal, logical people. So the emotional words you use will be different depending on the audience. But back to the audience, people. You need to know who your audience are. See, that's another thing about me. I tend to give it to you on a plate and then go, why aren't you doing it? So that's why people work with me, like that down-to-earth, ha. So the words do need to be your words. You can't, for instance, if you are a formal speaker, someone who's very logical thinking, someone who maybe their world is black and white, and you know, you work in accountancy or solicitor or something where the world is pretty much black and white, and you have to have, you know, a particular type of language. And actually what comes to mind is undertakers and funeral homes, because my magic words are top 5 words I use are inspiring, amazing, authentic, magical, and love. Well, I wouldn't want to walk into a funeral parlour after someone I love has died and be told, it's awesome, it's going to be an awesome... You have your own language and your own words that you use. Tripping over my tongue there. And when I use these words, I use them authentically because I have used them. They are part of me. They're part of my heart, my soul, my belief system. They're part of my values. My language is so much a part of my values. I struggle with words like strategy and formula. Let's reflect. Let's do a plan. Let's do a time. Find another word for me, because I struggle with those words. And for a long time, my business plan, it was like, oh, I don't know what business plan. Oh, it has to have a formula, and I had to find ways of changing how I spoke about my business plan. And now I talk about, my timeline, my magic timeline, my awesome image of what the future is going to look like, my vision board. And actually a vision board is truly just a business plan, but we lovely, magical creatures like to think of it as a vision board and it's all going to come true. So it's about what you believe in and your values. So think about what sort of client you work with. Write down the type of client you work with generally. And for some of us, it's all sorts of clients. Lots of different clients. And that doesn't mean we change the message or anything we're talking about. It's just being aware of the clients. Are they business women, creative people? Are they logical thinkers? Are they academic? Are they mums, dads? Are they younger or older? Certainly, some of the language my grandson uses at 14, I haven't got a clue. I need a dictionary. So if someone of a younger age was talking to me, I need them to understand that, you can use hippie type words. I remember the 60s, but I don't understand a lot of today's terminologies. So, and equally, if I'm talking to a younger group, I've got to really do some work around, how these younger people communicate with the world so that I can communicate with them better. So have a think what sort of client you work with, or clients. Make a list of these clients and think about the words that you use. Do they fit every client that you work with or every client group that you work with? Have a think about it, and have a think about how you might have to change if you had an audience of one particular group of people to another group of people. How could you say and give your message, understanding that needs a different communication sort of language for each of them and the way you speak. So this is about engaging. When you talk to people, you engage with them, and you can't engage with them if you're talking different languages. You can't engage. I have to say, sometimes when you're abroad and you're trying to ask for the toilet and everything else, yeah, the fun and the humour helps you become engaged, but generally you don't have a relationship with that person if you can't really engage and communicate with them. So if you're talking, for instance, to a group of mums, okay, especially working mums or business mums, the words they're going to react to are these here, family, tired, quick and easy, please, get me back some time, it's me, all those things. They get that because they're living it. It's part of their life. But if you talk to them about putting the work in, networking, spend more time planning, all of those, they are very negative words. And working mums do not want to hear that they've got to put more time in. They do not want to hear that they may have to spend more time networking. They may need to hear it, but those words are they're just going, no, please don't. I can't, I'm doing too much, okay? If you talk about, having to be out of the house to a working mum, especially a single mum, you have to find another way to put it because you've got kids to think, all this stuff to think about. So certain language will make them go, no, don't want to know. Just don't. So think about that. For instance, I'm a speech coach, and I try to avoid, it can't always be done, and it does depend who I'm talking to. But I do avoid things like public speaking when I'm talking to business women, large audiences. I never tell them never be scared and anyone can do it. I may believe some of that, but there are audiences I would not say it to. If I'm talking to people who want to do TED Talks or who want to be public speakers in the truest sense, I will use the words public speaking. It's what they want to hear. I will talk to them about a large audience. But again, I would never say to them, never be scared or anyone can do it. Because if you say to someone, anyone can do it, and they are struggling and can't do it, immediately they feel that they aren't good enough to do it. So I avoid those words as much as possible and stick with more positive words. So another thing for you to do is to sit down. What words should you be avoiding with your client groups? Which of these words that you use subconsciously, maybe, should you not be using? What words with more than 5 syllables should you not be using to a certain group of people? So you've got this group of people that you work with. Now start putting words under there that you should avoid using with those groups. Really, really important, that bit. And it'll be different for different groups. But the more you're aware of it, the less you're going to fall into the trap of using exactly the same language with all the different groups that you work with. Exactly the same language for 17-year-old kids and 70-year-old businesswomen. It may be that you end up, that you actually work with a very mixed bag, in which case you're going to have to work out a way to engage with all of them using a variety of languages and words. Emotional words that people react to. So this is about, okay, you know what you're doing, you know what you're saying. So what words can I use to make people engage and do something? Hello, Elaine. You've come in towards the end. I'm going to continue, Elaine. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I'm going to continue and then I'll chat to you at the end, okay? So, emotional words, if you want people to actually buy from you or work with you, okay? People love the word secret. Don't ask me why, they just do. Things like confidential, controversial, what no one tells you. They're those words that we go, ooh. I mean, if you're like me and a bit of a gossip, ooh. Have you heard makes us stop and listen. Things about behind the scenes and confessions and unbelievable, those sorts of words make people stop and want to know more. I love those sorts of words. I use them a lot in copy and in email titles and things like that. They make a lot more sense. The other thing around words that help people work with you is this the implication of scarcity. Don't ask me why, but the minute we think we're missing out on something, we have to jump on board. Strange thing we do. So things like it's a limited offer. Supplies are running out. And this is a tip. 9 times out of 10, if you see this in any offer, the chances are it's not true. And I'm going to absolutely open up and say I have used these phrases sometimes to get people to book tickets. Get them while they last. It's like at the shops, that bargain, sort of the 3 for 2. We don't need 3 jars of anchovies, but for some reason we will buy 3 because we get 1 free. Doesn't make any sense, but that's how we work. Sale ends soon is another one. Today only, that's a great one. And then there's that thing about only 10 available, only 3 left. You can only get it here. And I'm going to double the offer in the next hour. Although we in our heads understand that we're being manipulated a bit, those sorts of phrases give an emotional response to us. They, in a way, make us do things that possibly we shouldn't do. And I have to be very careful when I see them in other offers, because real charlatans, real con men will use these to death. So you have to be a bit careful. And I do use them, but I try to regain my own values and my own integrity in saying, actually, I'm using them, but there's a certain amount of truth behind it. So that's really important. And I'm just sticking in these as part of the package. These are 28 words and phrases that will make people feel safe. And the other thing about words. People need to feel safe with the words. I'm not going to go all through these because this is part, you'll get all these in, you know, you can download them and look at them and see if you're using them. I mean, the thing about no risk, no strings attached, money back, guaranteed, all of those, they do emotionally make us feel safer, but we don't know why. So that's that. Let me stop this share a minute. Stop the share. Hello, Elaine. How are you? I don't know if Elaine can hear me or not. Let me just put a chat in to see if she can hear me. Hang on a minute, people. Yes. There we go. So that really is what I wanted to talk to you about today. I want you, this is your homework, is to go home. Go home, you probably are at home. I want you to think, make a list. Good. I want you to make a list of all the things, all the groups you work with, all the people you work with. And underneath that, I want you to put the words that they want to hear and then the words you should avoid. And you will get this when I send out the whole pack with all the things on there telling you what to do. So Elaine, darling, do you want to talk to me or are you okay there? Because we need to make a date to meet and I'm quite happy to do that while I've got you on the line and my diary in front of me. And you can talk to me if you click on, are you muted? There's a little thing down the bottom that says mute on stop video. You can actually, oh, she's just gone to get her diary. Good, good, good. So in the meantime, I'm going to waffle at you, which is not a good idea. But actually, no, I'm not going to waffle. I'm going to stop the recording and say to you all, this is coming out. You can follow this through. You can, you'll have the better formatted slides. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Do ask, do give me a ring or anything that you're querying, and let's go over it and make sure you're using the magic of words. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to stop the recording and I'm going